Coming up today, former FIFA Vice President Chung Mong-joon is among 4 top football officials suspended amid wide-ranging corruption allegations. The two Koreas exchanged the final lists of war-separated family members for a rare reunion event that will take place later this month. Plus, Russia rejects US claims that 4 missiles intended for targets in Syria actually came down in Iranian territory. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Friday, October 9th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this morning, FIFA President Sepp Blatter and Uefa chief Michel Platini have been suspended from world football's governing body. They've been removed by its ethics committee along with former Vice President Chung Mong-joon and 1 other top official amid corruption allegations. Chung has expressed deep disappointment over what he says is a politically motivated punishment. He says he will explore all legal means available to challenge the decision that will see him locked out of the game until 2021. For more on the deepening scandal, our EG1 reports.
FIFA's Ethics Committee suspended former Vice President Chung Mong-joon on Thursday for 6 years and fined him $103,000. FIFA President Sepp Blatter received a provisional ban of 90 days after the committee found him guilty of embezzlement. Both men will be banned from all football activities. This means Chung would not be able to run for the organization's presidency, which has a registration deadline of October 26. Chung's spokesman told Arirang TV they're planning an appeal within the next 2 days.
We'll take all possible measures to tackle this matter, including legal actions. And we firmly believe that international community will support our actions with common sense.
Another candidate for FIFA president is Michel Platini. He's president of the Union of European Football Associations, but has also been implicated in the scandal. Like Blatter, Platini and FIFA Secretary-General Ban received 90-day bans. Platini is accused of receiving disloyal payment of around $2 million from Blatter in 2011. An investigation will continue over the next 3 months, and the suspensions could be extended by 45 days. Chung Mong-joon has been accused of vote trading after writing a letter to FIFA executive members in 2010. In the letter, Chung explained that Korea's bid committee for the World Cup planned to raise a global football fund if Korea gets to host the 2022 World Cup. 이지원, Arirang News.
The two Koreas have exchanged their final lists of candidates for the upcoming reunion event for families separated since the Korean War. The week-long event is scheduled to start on October 20th. Here's Song Ji-sun with the story.
뭐 갈 수가 없잖아. 우리 개인으로는 말이야. 보내만 준다고 하면은 내가 키워서라도 갈 마음이라고.
87-year-old Kim Woo-jung attributes his survival during the Korean War to his late mother who advised him to flee south. Now, after 65 years of waiting, Kim will finally get to see his youngest sister, who is 81, along with some of his surviving nephews from the north, at a reunion event later this month.
그 얼마나 내가 보고 싶고 했겠어. 그래서 내가 잠을 못 자. 아, 그거야, 뭐. 그날 그걸 보면 그날 내가 잠을 못 자고 했어.
Roughly 190 families will have the opportunity to meet their long-lost relatives at North Korea's Mount Kumgang Resort from October 20th to the 26th. During their 3-day stay, the families usually get to see each other about 6 times in sessions lasting 2 hours each. That's an awfully short amount of time, considering the more than 6 decades they've waited to see one another. But Kim is just one of more than 66,000 people currently registered as war-separated families in the database of the South Korean Red Cross. That means people on the list have a 0.1% chance of being chosen for a future reunion event. And with more than 4,000 people on the list passing away each year, there are increasing calls for regular reunion events before their time to meet runs out. 송지선, Arirang News.
The United Nations has opened an office in Seoul to gather information about North Korea's network of political prison camps. Our Kim Ji-yeon sat down with the UN representative in charge of the Seoul office to learn more about its function.
The United Nations Human Rights Office in Seoul is tasked with gathering information regarding alleged widespread and systematic abuses in North Korea. At the center of the allegations are 4 city-sized political prison camps, where cases of torture and starvation, as well as executions, are rampant. Various human rights groups estimate the camps hold up to a combined 120,000 people considered hostile to the regime. The UN says the violations in the north reached to a point that amounts to the most heinous crimes of all, crimes against humanity.
Crimes against humanity are of concern not only to North Korea, not only to its neighbors, but to humanity as a whole, because they're such serious human rights violations. So that is also one of the reasons that our office was established, because the UN as a whole has a rights-based mandate that requires the international community to look into these kinds of violations when they reach that point.
How significant is Seoul having an office here helps your investigation or inquiry?
Having an office in Seoul helps us access a wide range of information that we wouldn't have access to so easily. We don't have access to the DPRK, so of course we do not see ourselves with first-hand what is happening. But we do have access to many sources that describe to us similar patterns of violations, and so in that way we are able to verify information.
With the establishment of an office in Seoul, North Korea delegation says it's a conspiracy led by the U.S. What do you make of their strong reaction?
Well, I mean, this is their reaction. We would very much welcome technical cooperation with them, and you know, sometimes while these strong statements happen, of course, on the one hand, we also see a few positive moves being made, such as North Korea accepting first of all, participating in the Universal Periodic Review of its human rights record, which every country goes through, and engaging with the international community in that respect.
So they're taking this very seriously. What do you think is going to happen next when your investigation is complete? What kind of actions or reaction do you think is going to happen?
What we hope will happen is that the human rights situation for people living in the DPRK will improve, but that is our ultimate goal, and we don't have one path of getting there, but many paths that we can pursue. So we won't limit ourselves just to Seoul. We will get information wherever it's available.
Well, thank you for your time, Ms. Paulson.
Thank you very much.
Now, the president of the World Bank Group says he will back the establishment of a new Asian Development Bank led by the South Korean government when the two Koreas resolve their mutual security and political issues. Jim Yong Kim, who is in Peru, made the statement during talks with Seoul's Finance Minister Choi Kyung-hwan on the sidelines of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting being held in Lima this week, noting that he comes from a separated family from the Korean War himself. The World Bank chief showed interest in the envisioned Northeast Asia Development Bank. Minister Choi said the bank would be designed to support North Korea's economic development in exchange for Pyongyang's denuclearization, with the help of other member nations from the so-called six-party nuclear talks. Now, after member nations signed the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, South Korea is having second thoughts about its decision to not be part of the world's biggest trade pact. Government and experts put their heads together at a forum on Thursday to weigh the options. Kwon So-ah reports.
Korea's trade ministry said Thursday the TPP deal will have a very big influence on the Korean economy in the mid to long term, but the risks of not being a member will be limited. The ministry added it'll take quite some time for each TPP member state to complete the ratification process, which will give Korea more time to consider its options.
During that time, we have to make good use of our existing FTA network and take a significant market share in advance.
Officials and experts from Seoul's trade ministry and economic institutions tried to get closer to answering some of the questions surrounding Korea's stance on the TPP, especially the economic benefits it would have if Korea joined the pact, which accounts for around 40% of the world economy.
The effect of tariff reductions on the country's GDP would be limited because Korea already has FTAs with 10 of the 12 TPP members, and Japan's tariffs are very low.
This was mentioned because Japan and Mexico are the only two TPP members with which Korea does not have free trade agreements. Nevertheless, the government is facing criticism for what many say was a belated approach to expressing its desire to join the TPP.
At this moment, the best part for Korean government is we earn some kind of preparatory period until this TPP negotiation actually entered into force.
Korea is expected to use that time to analyze the TPP's trade regulations and take steps to minimize the cost of entering the TPP as a second-round member.
Experts say 2017 is probably the earliest Korea could join the TPP, meaning the country would most likely sign up after the pact takes effect. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Now, Russia has denied U.S. claims that 4 Syria-bound missiles crashed in Iran. Moscow's defense ministry says the cruise missiles launched from a ship in the Caspian Sea hit their intended targets in Syria. Russia also slammed U.S. news network CNN and the New York Times for reporting the claims without verifying the facts. The Syrian army says Russia's airstrikes have weakened Islamic State militants operating in the country, enabling the army to prepare a military operation to retake towns and villages from that group. Now, on a related note, NATO says it is prepared to send troops to protect Turkey as Russia's military campaign in Syria mounts. The head of NATO says the alliance wants to send Moscow a clear message that it is ready to defend its members. German prosecutors have raided Volkswagen HQ to search for evidence in the wake of the emissions cheating scandal. Officials say raids were carried out in Wolfsburg and other locations around Germany. The targets of the search were documents and data storage devices that could help them identify who was directly involved in this scandal. Volkswagen has vowed to help prosecutors, saying it's in the company's best interests to bring about a swift and complete resolution of the case. The German automaker has already suspended more than 10 senior managers, including 3 top engineers, as part of an internal investigation. Around 11 million vehicles made by VW Group are affected by this software designed to cheat emissions tests. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has ordered an internal audit into an alleged bribery case involving former UN General Assembly President John Ash. Ban's spokesman says the UN's Office of Internal Oversight Services will conduct a self-inspection into the allegation that Ash accepted over $1.3 million in bribes from several Chinese businessmen. Authorities say 5 other people with alleged ties to the scandal have also been charged and arrested. Ban said the UN is committed to ensuring that funds received from private entities are handled properly according to relevant regulations, adding that there's zero tolerance for corruption at the United Nations. A female author from Belarus has won the Nobel Prize in Literature for chronicling the modern suffering.
The Nobel Prize in Literature for 2015 is awarded to the Belarusian writer Svetlana Alexievich for her polyphonic writings, a monument to suffering and courage in our time.
Now, her work includes a series of books titled The Voices of Utopia. The books are about individuals in the former Soviet Union, as well as stories on the consequences of the 1986 nuclear disaster in Chernobyl and the Russian war in Afghanistan. Well, those are the stories we have for you on this Friday morning here in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. And if you're watching us in Korea, do enjoy your 3-day holiday weekend. Goodbye.